Hello everybody, Doug Skeleton here, and today we're taking a look at two more Whispers of the Old God cards, including Mukla, Tyrant of the Vale, which I think I'm already liking a lot, because it's a 6 mana 5/5 that adds 2 banana cards to your hand, similar to the original Mukla naturally, which gave your opponent 2 bananas, but when you have the bananas in your own hand, it's arguable that paying the cost is actually worth it. Because you can do quite a bit of things with those 2 bananas. Bananas are pretty useful items to have in your hand. So I kind of imagine this. You're playing a Miracle Rogue deck. Instead of doing a turn 6 Gadget Sand Auctioneer, which I think is often kind of a bad play unless you have like double preparation and the coin in your hand, um, you can play Mukla, Tyrant of the Vale, build up more cheap spells, and then when you're really ready to go, maybe on turn 7 or 8, you can play those bananas to not only draw extra cards, but also to make your Gadget Sand Auctioneer tougher to remove. For instance, if you play Conceal and you stealth your Gadget Sand Auctioneer and your opponent's playing a mage and he really wants it off the board, he can normally Flame Strike it because it only has 4 health, but if you play the banana and Conceal, and then with any AoE, just a vanilla AoE being hitting the field, it's pretty much impossible to kill the Gadget Sand Auctioneer. The exception to that would be Poison Seeds, I think. Well, Equality Consecration too, but that's 2 cards. So anyway, the bananas in that circumstance would be really good. Another way to look at it would be kind of like an 8 mana 7/7, which isn't great. That's not really what this card does, because the +1s are able to be put on anything you want. Another idea that comes to mind is you can use it in a buff deck. So you have the Genie of Zephyrs, which copies any buff that was played onto that minion. So if you play 2 bananas in your deck, that's pretty good. Also combos with the legendary Valkyr sisters from the Grand Tournament as well, which got special effects when you cast a spell on them, like dealing 3 damage to a random enemy, or adding in a Divine Shield to the light one. So there are uses for those bananas that make it actually worth playing this minion to pay 6 mana for 5/5. Never underestimate 1 mana spells. They're pretty useful. Oh, Archmage Antonidas, another very obvious case. Actually, that might be good enough to play Mukla, Tyrant of the Vale in a kind of tempo-based mage deck, or just any mage deck in general. Should be pretty strong, I think. Okay, the other card, Apothecary. I think this is basically the answer to Healbot leaving the game. Battlecry: for each enemy minion, restore 2 health to hero. Obviously, that's not as good as restore 8 health to your hero 100% of the time, but you do get the bonus of it being a 4/4. So in terms of healing, it's weaker. In terms of a minion, it's a bit more playable. You're losing about 2 points of stats over the average 5 drop. Like Lothab would be average 5/5, or Pit Fighter would be the vanilla 5/6, 5 mana. So yeah, you're losing a few points of stats, but that's okay. You play these minions for the healing, really. Now, against a Zoo deck, or a Tempo Mage deck, I want to say, you're probably going to get somewhere between 2 and 8 HP when you play it. So it's actually quite comparable to cards like Healbot when you're playing against aggro decks. Maybe where it's not as beneficial to you is against things like Freeze Mage, because Freeze Mage don't need minions on the board to kill you. They might play Alexstrasza, and you can play Cult Apothecary, sure, but that's only going to net you 2 HP in that case. So it's much weaker than Healbot when it comes to be against control decks, but I think Healbot was really meant to be an answer to getting rushed down originally to begin with, not to kind of save yourself from being comboed to death, or to basically run your opponent Freeze Mage out of resources. Now, it's still yet to be seen whether some cards in Freeze Mage, or cards that really benefit Freeze Mage, are going to see nerfs going forward, since it's been such a strong deck consistently, like Combo Druid has. But yeah, as far as this card goes, pretty comparable to Healbot against aggro decks, or against decks that really like to build the board. especially Zoo. This would be better than Healbot against Zoo in most circumstances, honestly, because of the better stats. But yeah, weaker against most control decks. I wouldn't expect to get more than 4 on average against something like a control warrior or control priest, unless they were playing overly greedy. But this should be pretty solid. Might be a one of include in a lot of control decks, especially ones that don't have the new healing legendaries like Paladin with Ragnaros the Light Lord, or Shaman with Heliziel the whatever his name is. Okay, so interesting cards. I think these both will see some play. And yeah, aside from that, I've been Dark Skeleton. Thank you for watching, and tune in for my next video. Peace, guys.